Hi everyone, welcome back to 10 Power 100 Karnataka. I am Tejas and I am back to do another video for your English examination that is coming up in the month of March, right? So in this video, I will be covering the 3 markers and the 4 markers that we have left out from the last 2 videos. And I will also give you a few tips that will help you reach your 100 marks, 80 out of 80 target in the examination that you will be writing in the next month. So without further ado, let's begin this video. In my last video, I have covered 3 markers and 4 markers, which are easy and which is also good questions to score, right? So for the 3-mark questions, I have actually said that you can focus on When You're Old, To a Foot from Its Child, and Heaven If You're Not Here on Earth. All the resources for these 3 poems have been shared on Telegram channel as well. You can also refer to the 3-mark video that I have done a few days ago for looking at what type of questions can come from these poems itself, right? In my last video that I have done for English, I have covered the Sunny Morning lesson, and I believe books will never disappear for 4 marks. Just to quickly recap, you need to write 4 3-mark questions, which will give you 12 marks, and you need to write 3 questions of 4 marks each, which will give you again 12 marks. So if you are thorough with 1, 2, and 3 poems, you have already got 9 marks, right? And if you are thorough with these 2, you have got 8 marks. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you which is the other poem or lesson that you need to study for the 3 marks and the 4 marks, and also what you need to study in those respective lessons and poems as well, right? So now for the 3 markers, what I want you to focus on is there is another question that you will get from Sunny Morning for 3 marks. Okay, if you are studying Sunny Morning for 4 marks, then those questions itself can be asked for you for 3 marks. So I will run you through what are the possible questions that they can ask you for Sunny Morning in the 3 marks category. Then similarly in 4 marks, the other lesson that I think you can definitely focus on is 2 Dear. Okay, so ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ 3 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು 3 ಪೋಯಮ್ಸ್ ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಆನ್ ಸನಿ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಲೆಸನ್ ವಿಚ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ ಯು ಯೋರ್ 3 ಮಾರ್ಕರ್ಸ್. ಮತ್ತೆ 4 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ನಾವು ಸನಿ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ನ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓದಿದೀವಿ, ಅಂಡ್ ಐ ಬಿಲೀವ್ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ನೆವರ್ ಡಿಸಪಿಯರ್ ನು ಓದಿದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇವೆರಡು ಲೆಸನ್ ಓದಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಲೆಸನ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ನೀವು ಅಂದ್ರೆ 2 ಡಿಯರ್ ನ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ 2 ಡಿಯರ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಈಸಿ ಲೆಸನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಗೆಟ್ 4 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಟ್ ಲೆಸನ್ ಎಸ್ ವೆಲ್. ಓಕೆ, video start ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ one small suggestion I have for all of you is that English ಅಲ್ಲಿ it is not the easiest to score 80 out of 80, right? Very few school students actually score 80 out of 80, but the effort that you put towards writing your exam, ಆ effort ಹೆಂಗ್ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ as evaluators, ನೀವು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಏನೇನ್ ಬರಿಬೇಕೋ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ then there is a high chance that you will get full marks in English, right? I am not saying that you will not get it, but what I am saying is that if you put in effort and if you study properly without any mistakes, there is a very high chance that you can really score 80 out of 80. So our motivation na idkombiti, I am actually sharing you few resources which will help you to reach that target of scoring 80 out of 80, right? So again tips, again suggestions anta we will see now. So Sunny Morning ನಲ್ಲಿ 3 marks ನಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ questions ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀನಿ. So the first thing that you can get from 3 marks is the ill-natured prelude. ಪ್ರೆಲ್ಯೂಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಅವರಿಬ್ರು ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಪಾರ್ಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಬಿಫೋರ್ ದೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಫೈಟಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಈಚ್ ಅದರ್. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ದಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಮೇಕ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಅನ್ ಇಲ್ ನೇಚರ್ಡ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು ನಿಮಗೆ. ಅನದರ್ ವೇ ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯು, ಬೇಸಿಕ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯು ದಿಸ್ ವೇ, ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ದೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಈಚ್ ಅದರ್ ಅಂತಾನು ಸಹ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಓಕೆ, ದ ಅದರ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ದಟ್ ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯು ಇಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಾನರಾಸ್ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿ. If you read the lesson towards the middle of the lesson, ಅವರಿಬ್ರು ಮಾತಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ they will Don Gonzalo will describe Donalara's beauty, right, by saying that she was beautiful, he compares her to the beauty of a lily and all of those things, right? So ಆ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ನ ನಿಮಗೆ 4 marks 3 marks ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. ಅಂಡ್ ಅವರಿಬ್ರು ಫೇಕ್ ಸ್ಟೋರೀಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ದಿಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕವರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ, ಡಾನ್ ಗೊಂಜಾಲೋಸ್ ಫೇಕ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ವಿತ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಗ್ಯಾಲೆಂಟ್ ಹಾರ್ಸ್ಮನ್, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಕಸಿನ್, and Donna Laura's fake story about her best friend, that is Laura Lorente. Okay, so ಅವರಿಬ್ರದ್ದು ಫೇಕ್ ಸ್ಟೋರೀಸ್ ನ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ 3 marks ಸಹ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ಈ 4 ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ನ ನೀವು ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ದೆನ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಪಾಸಿಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್ ಫಾರ್ ವಿಚ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೆಟ್ 3 out of 3. ಇದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕೇಳಬಹುದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೇ ಮೈಟ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯು ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ way they pull each other's leg or the humorous instances between each other, humorous situations that are there in the ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಸಹ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಹ್ಯೂಮರಸ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಅಗೇನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಕರ್ಚಿಫ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ದೆನ್ when Don Gonzalo removes his glasses to read the book, she compares it to telescope. ಅದೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಬರಿಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ನೀವು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಹಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಾಗ they say that they both like hunting and they show that one person is better than the other person, right? ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ he says that he has the head of a boar in his study, whereas Donna Laura says that there is a ಕಾರ್ಪೆಟ್ ಆರ್ ಟೈಗರ್ ಸ್ಕಿನ್ ಇಂದ ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಕಾರ್ಪೆಟ್ ಇದೆ ಇನ್ ಹರ್ ಬೂಡ್ವಾರ್. ಸೊ ಇವೆಲ್ಲಾನು ನೀವು ಬರಿಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಫಾರ್ 3 marks if they ask you about the humorous situation. ಓಕೆ, ಇದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು 3 marks ಗೆ ಅಂತ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್, again they can probably ask you the story that was happening, the original story, ಅವರಿಬ್ರದ್ದು ಏನು ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತ, which is basically ಅವರಿಬ್ರು ಹೇಗೆ ಈ ಫೈಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಾನ್ ಗೊಂಜಾಲೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಮರ್ಚೆಂಟ್ ಫೈಟ್ ಆಗೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ how was their story going on. Idunu I have explained in the previous video, which basically talks about Don Gonzalo used to go to on the rose path every day, and in the morning when he was going he would toss a bouquet of flowers to Donna Laura or Laura Lorente, and avulu adanna catch ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು then ಮತ್ತೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಅವನು ಬರ್ತಾರುವಾಗ she would toss it back to him ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ನ ಬರಿಬೇಕು for 3 marks. Okay, so those two things I have already covered in the previous video. ಈ ಎರಡು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ನಾನು ಆಗಲೇ ನಿಮಗೆ ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋನಲ್ಲಿ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆ ನೋಟ್ಸು ಸಹ ನಿಮಗೆ ಟೆಲಿಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಚಾನಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವೈಲಬಲ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ವಿಡಿಯೋನಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕಲಿ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ದೀಸ್ 2 points which will give you full 3 marks coverage. Okay, ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ then there is a very high chance that you will get 3 out of 3 for this lesson. Okay, so ಈಗ let's see the first question. So ಈ ಲೆಸನ್ ಇಂದ ಪ್ರಾಬಬ್ಲಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಐ ಸೆಡ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯು ಇಸ್ ಇದು ಇಲ್ ನೇಚರ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರೆಲ್ಯೂಡ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರಿಬ್ರದ್ದು ಬ್ಯಾಂಟರ್, ಅವರಿಬ್ರದ್ದು ಕ್ವಿಕ್ ಕಾನ್ವರ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ವಾಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್, ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಆ ಪಾರ್ಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ರಿಟನ್ ದಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯು. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಆನ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಕೀ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್. ಆ ಕೀ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಸಹ ನಾನು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಹೈಲೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, which will help you get your full 3 marks, right? The idea is to write neatly and properly without any errors, then you will get your 3 marks without any problem. So ee answer ni main agi baribekagirodu enandre Donna Laura, first of all avಳು she comes to the park first and she is peacefully feeding the breadcrumbs to the pigeons alva. So avaga that is where Don Gonzalo comes with his servant Juanito, and then what he does is he wants to sit on his bench and he gets very impatient. Meaning ಆ ಬೆಂಚ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ, he thinks that ಆ ಇರೋ ಪಾರ್ಕಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋ ಬೆಂಚ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವಂದೇ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ he wants to sit on that particular bench where the priests will be sitting. So he gets impatient, ಅಂದ್ರೆ he gets very angry and he starts complaining about the priests. ಆ 3 ಜನ priests ಕೂತಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ವಾ ಬೆಂಚ್ ಮೇಲೆ, ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು he gets angry and he starts complaining and he wants the bench for himself. When he approaches, the birds fly away. ಅವನು ಹತ್ರ ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ the pigeons, the ones which were eating the breadcrumbs, they will get scared and they will fly away because when he is walking he raises dust. This also is mentioned to you in the play, right? So our dust in the pigeons get scared and they run away or fly away rather. So idan nodbitti Donna Laura becomes annoyed. So she also gets angry because she was feeding breadcrumbs alva to the pigeons. So once she gets angry, she tells him that he has scared away the birds that were feeding on the crumbs. Don Gonzalo rudely replies, rudely. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಸಿ ಈ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ನಾನು ಏನು ಅಂಡರ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ದೀಸ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಶೋಸ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಅನಲೈಸಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಬೈ ಯುವರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್, ರೈಟ್? ರಿಪ್ಲೈಸ್ ದಟ್ ಹಿ ಡಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕೇರ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರಿಮೈಂಡ್ಸ್ ಹರ್ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಪಾರ್ಕ್. ಇದನ್ನು ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಸ್ಟೋರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅವಳು ಇದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಶಿ ರಿಮೈಂಡ್ಸ್ ಹಿಮ್ ದಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಪಾರ್ಕ್. It is not for just Don Gonzalo or Donna Laura. So idan nodbitti she actually questions him, saying that why he had complained about the priests occupying the bench, right? So illi his bench anadana underline yak ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, so ಅವನು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ನಿನ್ ಪಾರ್ಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. She also says that it is not your park, right? So that emphasis you should be able to write in this answer. He should take the liberty of addressing him. Thus their first meeting is marked by irritation, pride and sharp words. Idaadmelene she will say that he is an ill-natured man anta. So this much you should be able to write. Remember, they come to the park, she is feeding breadcrumbs. Don Gonzalo comes with his servant. He notices the 3 priests are sitting on his bench, so he gets angry. He tells them that they should be attending mass instead of sitting over here, and then when he is walking he raises dust. Because of that the pigeons get scared and fly away. So seeing this, Donna Laura gets annoyed, she gets angry, and she is not happy with this. So when she confronts him or when she asks him why he did it, he says that this is not her bench, this is the public property, right? And then she also in return responds to him saying that he cannot claim that the bench is his and that it is again a public property. In this process they both have a they don't understand each other and they don't feel like talking to each other, and that's the ill nature prelude that happens in Sunny Morning. So ishtuna, if you are able to cover and write it without a lot of errors, and if you are able to write it with grammatically correct sentences, you will get 3 marks. Now the second question that you should remember from this, which I said I've not covered in the previous video and I'm covering now, is Don Alvaro's beauty, description. How does Don Gonzalo describes it, right? So here Don Gonzalo described the beauty of Silver Maiden. He said that she had ideal fair, she's been ideal, that means she's like the best, an ideal woman ಹೆಂಗಿರಬೇಕು ಆ ತರ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ ಅವಳು, and she's fair as a lily with black hair and black eyes and with an uncommonly sweet expression. So that's how he is describing her, right? So her hair is black, eyes are black, she's compared to her beauty is as fair as a lily, that means she's as white as a lily. Lily is a flower, right? He added that she had seemed to cast radiance wherever she was, suggesting that her presence had brightened everything around her. That means she ಅವಳು ಎಷ್ಟು ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ that beauty was radiating light and it would brighten everything that was around her. Okay, he further stated that her figure had been beautiful and perfect. So he comments about her entire figure itself, that he says that her figure was perfect. According to him, she had been the very form of sovereign beauty that God models in human clay. So he's saying that a god banbiti clay in the such a beautiful person ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ವಾ. So he's describing that she was so beautiful that everybody would probably think that the god has only come down and he has made someone as beautiful as Silver Maiden. Anta. So that's the meaning of this. He described her not merely as beautiful woman but as something more divine and beyond comparison. That means he's so beautiful, she's like one goddess, like that is how beautiful. That's why he says divine and beyond comparison, that he cannot compare her beauty to someone else. Okay, so that's how you can say that he described Donna Laura's beauty. Again, very if you are able to remember those keywords, then you should be able to compose your own answer, as long as you are keeping the tense and as long as you are keeping the sentence structures clear. Okay, so keywords nella ನಾನು ಆಗಲೇ ಅಂಡರ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ, and in Telegram you will be receiving, as soon as this video is up, you will have a resource pool as well. So please go and check your Telegram channel for the resources for this particular lesson as soon as you watch this video. Okay, now that completes the 3 mark questions. Now I'm going to move to the 4 markers. As I told, ಈಗ ನೀವು Sunny Morning ನ ಫುಲ್ ಡೆಪ್ತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓದಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 4 marks ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, 3 marks ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಟೋಟಲಿ 7 marks ನಿಮಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಬಂತು. Now the other lesson that you should focus on, ನಾನು previous video ನಲ್ಲಿ I believe books will never disappear ಆ lesson ಬಗ್ಗೆ I had given you the 4 markers. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ it is easy to remember, it is like just one dialogue, interviews ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ನಿಮಗೆ ಆ ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ then it is easy to write the answers. So another lesson that I feel is very simple is Two Deer. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದೊಂದು ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ತರ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಈಸಿ ಫಾರ್ ಯು ಟು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಈಸಿ ಫಾರ್ ಯು ಟು ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ Two Deer ಇಸ್ ಅ ಗುಡ್ ಬೆಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಈ ವಿಡಿಯೋನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಟೆಲ್ ಯು ದ ಮೇನ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್. ಆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರಿಬೇಕು ನೀವು ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒನ್ ಬ್ರೀಫ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ ಯು, ಅಂಡ್ you will be getting the notes and I will explain to you the notes as well, which will help you score your marks from Two Deer. Now ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ questions possible ಆಗಿ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ one, they can ask you the description of Monaco. See children, this is a very easy question. Okay, it is very very simple. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇದೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್, that Monaco was a tiny kingdom that lied between near at the shores of Italy, between the Italy and France, Mediterranean Sea ಹತ್ರ ಇತ್ತು. Then you should be able to write the population was only 7,000 people. It had a very small army of 60 men. So our details alla, it is very direct, it is very very simple. Also you can write about the taxes. It got its sources of revenue from taxes. ಯಾವ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಸ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇರಬೇಕು. It got its revenue from poll tax, taxes on wine, spirit and tobacco. So that was its sources of revenue. Apart from that, it also had a special source of revenue which came from the gaming houses. So ಇಷ್ಟನ್ನ ನೀವು ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಆರ್ಮಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ and it had it was a real kinglet, another bagenu you should write, okay, which had ministers, jurymen, and all of those things. So if you are able to write those details, you will get your 4 marks. And this is very simple, it is not a very complicated question also, and the answer is readily available to you in the textbook. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಂಗಿದೆಯೋ ಹಂಗೆ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ you will get your 4 marks, okay. So the keywords ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಿಮಗೆ for reference. Next, they can ask you about gaming houses. So ಏನೇ question gaming houses ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು, it's very important for you to focus on the fact that the gaming houses was running only in Monaco. ಮೊನಾಕೋನಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾತ್ರ ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಹೌಸಸ್ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು, ಅಂಡ್ ನೋ ಅದರ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ ಅಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಯುರೋಪ್ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಹೌಸಸ್ ವರ್ ಬ್ಯಾನ್ಡ್ ಅಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಯುರೋಪ್, ರೈಟ್? Especially German sovereigns had banned it because they did not want people to go. There was one incident where one person went to the gaming houses and then he lost a lot of money, and next day he had committed suicide. Another ಬಗ್ಗೆ they have mentioned one detail in your story, alva. So that is why it was banned across Europe. However, only in Monaco it was there. Because of that, Monaco had monopoly anta bere ಬರಿಬೇಕು ನೀವು, okay? So ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ details are there in your notes. I have already written these answers for you, which is easy for your reference as well. Gaming houses was also easy. You have to say that it was giving a lot of income for the king. That's why he decided not to close the gaming houses, and it was also a special source of revenue, alva. So ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ details na ನೀವು ಈ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಿಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್, ಅಗೇನ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಶೋರ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ರೆಫರ್ ಟು ದ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಇಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಈ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲನೇಷನ್ ನೀವು ಕೇಳಬೇಕು, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ವೆನ್ ಯು ವಾಚಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ ಯು ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಐ ವರ್ ಯು, ನಾನು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಓದ್ತದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿಡಿಯೋನ ಒಂದ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ನೋಟ್ಸ್ನ ಒಂದ್ ಸೈಡ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಪ್ರಿಂಟು, I would listen to the video and I would refer to the points and I will recollect it, right? That will help you strengthen your answer very well. Now, the third question that they will ask you is, why did the king keep changing his mind or altering the decisions again and again? See, story, the main theme of this story, when you are writing your answers, you can write this word. It is a political satire. What is the meaning of political satire? It is a mockery that Leo Tolstoy is doing about the judicial system, right? So he is saying that judicial system, ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಕಂಟ್ರಿನಲ್ಲಿ judiciary ಹೆಂಗ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, if you do a murder, of course you should be committed for it, right? Like there should be some form of a punishment that should be given to you. But the unfortunate thing or a funny thing that happens in Monaco is that even though it was a real kinglet, they did not give any form of punishment to the criminal. And the irony in the end, ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, that the criminal was actually asked to leave the prison and lead a happy life with pension. The government itself gave pension to that fellow and said that, okay, you live your life in the best way possible, alva. So that's why it is a satire. It is actually a mockery of the judicial system, right? So that introduction will always give you a good brownie point, I would say, in your exam. So ಈ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಏನು ಬರೀಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, ಏನಕ್ಕೆ decisions was constantly changing in the kingdom of Monaco, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ you have to stress and you should write. So there are multiple decisions. So first ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, I'm just going to explain to you very briefly so that you can recollect the story and refer to the notes, okay? So first all, what will happen, murder for the first time it was committed in the kingdom of Monaco. ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಮರ್ಡರ್ ಆಗಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಒಂದು ಮರ್ಡರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Then all the members will come and they will discuss together and they will decide to provide capital punishment, or rather they want to cut his head off, right? So that is the decision. Death penalty ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ they will decide. So first ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, it is death penalty. Okay, this is important for you to write. ಆ ಡೆತ್ ಪೆನಾಲ್ಟಿನ ಅನ್ಫಾರ್ಚುನೇಟ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ಡಿ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದೇ ಡಿ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಗಿಯೋಟಿನ್. ಓಕೆ, ನೋ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕತ್ತನ್ನ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾರು ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನರ್. ಅಂಡ್ ದೇ ಡಿ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ವಿಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್, no guillotine. Okay, this spelling is important. Many children make mistakes with guillotine. Don't substitute this word and say cutting machine and all of that. Just say there was no guillotine. So iverdu equipments irlillavala. There was no equipment, there was no person to execute also. So what they did, they decided to reach out to two countries. First they reached out to France or the French government. Now the French government was a republican form of government. Again idella details nimgide. That republican government, this will all help you with your 1 markers. That's why I'm saying listen to the video very carefully, pause at different intervals. So the French government, which was a republican form of government, they said that they responded and they said that it will cost 16,000 francs. Okay, not francs, francs, FARNCS. This is the currency. Okay, so ಅವರು 16,000 francs ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ವಾಪಸ್ ಲೆಟರ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಮೊನಾಕೋನಲ್ಲಿ 16,000 francs, they think it is too expensive for the criminal. So what they say is that if they go ahead with this, there is a high possibility that people will not be happy and they will cause riots. Riots andre fights ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. So that is why they say that okay, let us approach somebody else. So who they will approach? They'll approach the second one, which is brother monarch of Italy. Okay, they'll reach out to the brother monarch of Italy. Now what will this brother monarch do? Instead of the brother monarch, the Italian government now will respond, and they will say that it will cost a total of 12,000 francs, along with for both, that is it will consist of traveling expenses include agate, plus your executioner ಮತ್ತೆ guillotine ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು it will cost 12,000 francs ಅಂತ they will say. Now again the committee will come and they will discuss. They will think that okay, but in that discussion also they will realize that 12,000 francs ತುಂಬಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯ್ತು for this criminal. So what they will decide, they will go now for the third type. They will go and they will ask their own soldiers. Okay, they'll ask maybe one of the soldier only can take one axe and cut off the head anta. But what the soldiers will say, they are also hesitant, so they will give excuses. When the general goes and asks the soldiers will say that they are not trained to cut people's head and we will only kill people in war anta ಎರಡು reason ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. First reason is they are not trained anta. The second reason is that they will cut heads only in the war, or during war only they will kill someone. So adukoskara they say that even we will also not do. So because all the three options that they had was not working out, they decided to change this from death penalty. They will decide to go to life imprisonment. Okay, this is one of the change that happens. ಇದೊಂದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಜನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, if they ask you why was it constantly changing ಅಂತ ಈ ತರ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, many of them will stop only till here. They'll think that death to life imprisonment, but life imprisonment ಇಂದನೂ change ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಮತ್ತೆ. So that also you should write very brief agi. Okay, now for life imprisonment what all you should write, I'm just going to make a note here. Okay, so for life imprisonment, the first thing is they will empty one cell and they will put him in that cell. Okay, ಆ cell ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನ್ನ ಇಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ they will appoint one guard. Now that ಕೆಲಸ ಏನೋ guard ಅದು, that guard's job is to fetch water, food, basically food from the palace's kitchen. So palace kitchen in that they have to bring all these things for the criminal. But over the course of time they will realize that 600 francs expenses ಆಗ್ತೈತೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. Okay, so the kingdom will get to know that it is becoming too expensive even now. ಅವನನ್ನ ಜೈಲಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಟರು the amount of expenses is very high ಅಂತ ಎದುರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು what they will do is that they will come up with another plan. The plan is that ಈ guard ನ ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಡೋಣ ನಾವು. Let us remove the guard, because if the guard is not there, they will think that he will run away from the prison, and he will, once he runs away, it is his problem, it is not the kingdom's problem anta they think. But the guard is reluctant. The guard does not want to leave the prison and he continues to stay in the prison. He'll only go and get the food. ಅವನಾಗವನೇ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಫುಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಂಬರಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. So then what will the kingdom think? They will think that something is wrong. Why is he not escaping anta? So then they will call him and they will ask him why he is not running away or why he is continuing to stay ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ he gives a list of reasons. ಯಾಕೆ ಅವನು ಆಚೆ ಹೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. And some of the reasons he says is that he is feeling very people will turn their backs on him, or he has gone out of way of working. ಇಷ್ಟು ದಿನ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವನು ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋದಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. Then he'll also say that they have ruined his character, they have ruined his name. Even if he goes outside, they will not be able to, people will not accept him in the society because his name is ruined, alva. And he is very upset that death penalty in the, now you are changing to life imprisonment, now you are changing to something else. So he is not comfortable on the respect illa society nalli anta. He is feeling upset and he realizes that it is better to stay in the prison and instead of going outside anta. So he gives these reasons. Idella reasons keladmele again the king will decide to change the decision, and he says that okay, instead of him for him to sustain himself outside, what he will give is he'll offer pension for him every year. He will say that we'll provide him a pension of 600 francs anta helbitti they will finally release him. So if you see in this question ಗೆ ಇವಾಗ ನೀವು ಏನೇನು ಬರೀಬೇಕು, ಇದೇನೇನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ನೋ ನಾನೆಲ್ಲ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ you have to write it in a very concise manner. Now if you are getting scared, how sir, how can I write all of this in a concise manner? Don't worry, I have given the answer na including all these points na I have already written it for you. But ಈ explanation ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ you will also be able to connect it very well. ನೀವು ಓದ್ತಾ ಇರುವಾಗ ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ನೆಲ್ಲ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಈ ವಿಡಿಯೋನ if you are able to listen to it again and again, then there is a high possibility that you will remember all the events. Now ಈ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಬರೀತಾ ಇರುವಾಗ ನೀವು ಮೇನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ the order of the events is important. ಆ ಕಡೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಈ ತರ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಆ ನಂಬರ್ ನ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದು ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪಡೆಗೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ದಟ್ ಡು ನಾಟ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ದ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್. ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಈವೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್. ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ತರ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಈಸಿ ಫಾರ್ ಯು ಟು ರೈಟ್ without any miss. So that is this question, I think this is a very popular question. Most of the times they keep asking you this question. Sometimes they can ask you only to write why did the king change the decision from death penalty to life imprisonment. ಈ ತರನೂ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಈ ತರ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಟಿಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್, ಡೆತ್ ಪೆನಾಲ್ಟಿ ಇಂದ ಲೈಫ್ ಇಂಪ್ರಿಸನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ತನಕ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಬಟ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ರಿಟನ್ ದ ಹೋಲ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ಬಟ್ ನೀವು ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಡಿ. ರೈಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ಡ್. This is a bigger question. If they ask you again and again why they were changing, then you write the whole thing. If they ask you only from death penalty to life imprisonment exchange madidru andre, then you will write only one section. Okay, so remember, please don't simply overwrite things over here. And also when you are writing this answer, please write it in small paragraphs. One page ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಡಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್, ದೆನ್ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ ಡೆತ್ ಪೆನಾಲ್ಟಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ದೆನ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಇಂಪ್ರಿಸನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ದೆನ್ ಅವನು ರಿಲೆಕ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು, ದೆನ್ ಫೈನಲಿ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಸೊ different paragraphs ಆಗಿ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬರ್ದಾಗ then it shows that you know you have organized your answer very well ಅಂತ. Okay, so that's something that you should keep in mind. Now, why was the criminal reluctant to leave the prison? ಇದಕ್ಕಾಗಲೇ ನಾನು example answers ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ. That he had gone out of way of work, they have ruined his character, people will turn their backs on him, it is better that he stays over here itself because he feels humiliated. So all of those things you should be able to write. This is easy question, and this has also come in the model papers and in preparatory exam, right? So you can go through that. And last thing is, how did he lead his life after his release? So konenalli they will decide to leave him, no? So release admele he will lead a happy life. So he goes outside near the frontier, andre borders hatra hogbatti he will start market gardening. So then he will be able to earn a reasonable source every month. The income pension keeps coming to him. So with that same money, sometimes he will go to the gaming houses, he will stake one or two a little bit of money, and he will win sometimes, he will lose sometimes, but he leads a happy and a peaceful life, right? So that is the conclusion of this entire lesson. That is how he leads his life. Settles across the frontier, a border hatra hogbittu settle ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ market gardening start ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, he'll get his pension properly on time. Using that money, sometimes he goes to the gaming houses, he will win or he will lose, but he will have a luxurious life, or not luxurious, but he will have a decent life, which is not supposed to be the life that a criminal should be leading, no? So that is the answer that you should write for this particular question. Okay, great. So Iga, I have covered all the possible questions that you might get from 2D also, right? So ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ, like I promised you, I have already written. So question ಬರ್ದೇನಿ, and the answer that you can write also will be there for both 2D. Even Sunny morning go, I have also written the question and the answer. Okay, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ನಾನು ಒಂದು ವಿಡಿಯೋನಲ್ಲಿ I can explain it to you, but I can't put the text here, right? And ನೀವು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ಶಾಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. So like I said already in the beginning, take a printout of this or keep it on your mobile, listen to the explanation that I am giving in the video, refer to the notes, then it will be easy for you to read and understand the answers, right? So these resources will be made available to you immediately as soon as the video is out. So I hope you will really look at those notes, study according to it, and write structured answers which will give you 3 marks and 4 marks. Okay, now last tips literature ge nimage. Now 3 mark question ge nan kadeyinda for 4 marks what I would say is, nimage if you want to, I would say focus on Gardner also, yakandre adunu one story tarane ಇದೆ, very simple story, and if there is time I will definitely try to cover that also in one of the other videos, so that ನಿಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು buffer ಇರುತ್ತೆ. in case ಆ ಕಡೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಏನಾದರೂ questions ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, then you will have a backup option. So backup ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು is always better. I would say focus on Gardner. Even where there is a wheel also is a very common thing. You can use that also for your reference. Okay, for 4 marks ಗೆ ಇವೆರಡು lessons buffer ಇರಬಹುದು. voter lesson na, see, it is a little complicated lesson, so that's why I'm not suggesting it for 4 marks, but ನೀವು 1 mark ಗೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಓದಲೇಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ voter lesson na. Then Japan and Brazil na you can keep as buffer for 3 marks. Again, very simple lesson. ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ in this lesson they'll ask you about Boeing, then why is Boeing a mania ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು, ಅಥವಾ hierarchy of Boeing ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, like who are the people who bow to each other ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಯಾರಿಗೆ bow ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. Then they can also ask you about privacy, why is Japan known for privacy, and lastly they can ask you about the soup incident. Okay, similarly Brazil in they can ask you about traffic in Brazil, and there is an example of Avenida Presidente Vargas is basically friends in Brazil. One friend will be on one side and the other friend will be on the other side. So how will they meet ever? There's a comical reference that is made, right? So these are the possible questions that you might get from Japan and Brazil for 3 marks. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾನು ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಬಫರ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ, just in case for your safety, it is always good. But again, like I said, ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಲೆಸನ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ if you follow, then I don't think you should do any buffers. But that completely depends on how well you study, right? So I would really urge you to look at the notes, look at the resources, listen to the video, read the textbook once. Idella madidre I'm 100% sure you will get 24 out of 24 in the 3 and 4 marks without a doubt, right? So that's very important. Writing skills are also important. So handwriting, I've always said, keep it neat. Don't write untidily, because if you write untidily, a lot of evaluators may not find it very presentable. English language ke presentation, not just English, actually for all your languages, presentation is a very important thing. So write neatly, write patiently, do not try to scratch unnecessarily. Keep your answers simple. Kottira notes na correct ah odkondre, then I don't think there is a need for you to worry too much, right? So now just last things. So I was going through your comments, children. So there are some things that you have requested me to do. So I will definitely cover. I will try to do 3 more videos now. In our next video, we'll try to cover all the grammar concepts, 1 mark grammar concepts. Then we will do dialogue writing na heng bariyodu, letter of application na heng bariyodu annodra ಬಗ್ಗೆ I will make a short video. And lastly, reported speech, I'm doing a separate video yakandre this is little tricky, right? 5 marks baradu henge annodra ಬಗ್ಗೆ. Reported speech ಗೆ there are some rules that you should remember. So I'll not combine it with other videos so that you can refer to it. So I think these 3 videos should help you. If you want any other resources for English, please do put that in the comment section so that I can plan accordingly. I can utilize the time. I know we have only 1 week left for your examinations, but any time that you get to revise is always the best time for you to utilize and study, right? So if you put whatever you require, we will definitely try to bring it to you and help you all do well in your papers. So that is the intention. I hope this video nimage help agide anta. If you feel there are your friends who require support with English, do share all of these videos, share the Telegram channel links, tell them, watch the video, listen to the explanation, read the notes properly. That will help them do well in their examinations anta. So utilize all the resources in the best way possible is what I would always say. All the best for your upcoming exams. Do share these videos with anybody who is going to take up the English exam on the upcoming days. And if you need anything, put it in the comments and we will be happy to do those videos for all of you. Thank you so much for watching till here. I hope this was helpful for all of you. I will see you in the next video. All the best for your preparations. Thank you.